Imagine a world where a single moment can change everything, where the line between life and death is as thin as a whisper. This is the story of Tano, a young elephant calf, and the brave souls who refused to let nature claim him. The midday sun blazed over Amboseli National Park. Heat shimmered across the savanna, the air thick with dust and the faint scent of acacia. Amid the golden grass, a young elephant calf named Tano played with reckless joy. His ears flapped as he chased guinea fowls scattering before him. But in his excitement, Tano stepped too close to danger. Beside a dried-up waterhole, a pit of soft mud lay hidden. He bounded forward, and the ground gave way. At first he sank only to his knees, but each struggle drove him deeper. Soon, his belly pressed against the surface, his body coated in hot mud, his legs trapped like stone. His panicked trumpets carried across the plain. His mother, Amara, came charging. Trembling with fear, she circled the pit, stretching her trunk toward him, digging, pulling, pushing. But the ground collapsed beneath her, and she nearly lost her footing. Exhausted and plastered with mud, she could do nothing but watch as her calf floundered, helpless. By late afternoon, tourists spotted the scene and called the rangers. 4 arrived. Daniel Otiono, a veteran ranger. Leah Moinji, the park's veterinarian. Joseph Naroj, young and energetic. And Michael Alou, the jeep driver and mechanic. When they reached the pit, the sight struck them silent. Tano was almost fully submerged, only his trunk lifting weakly for air. His skin, once gray, looked black under the mud. Amara stood nearby, pacing, eyes wild. "She's been trying to dig him out," Leah murmured. "If we don't act, he won't last." Daniel nodded. "We're going in." The danger was clear, the mud was deep, the ground unstable, and Amara on edge. She raised her trunk high, trumpeting, tail lashing. "She thinks we're a threat," Joseph whispered, gripping the ropes. Daniel raised his hands. "Easy, Mama. We're here to help." For a tense moment, Amara advanced, rumbling low. Then, as if understanding, she stopped, standing rigid at the edge, her gaze fixed on her calf. "That's our window," Daniel said. The team stepped into the pit. Mud swallowed their boots, pulling at their legs. The heat pressed down, the stench suffocating. Joseph slid closer to Tano, speaking softly. Leah crouched low, keeping his head above the surface. "Stay with us, little one," she whispered. The calf's trunk wrapped briefly around her arm, a plea for comfort. Daniel and Michael forced the heavy ropes under his body. Mud clung to their arms, fighting them with every movement. The calf's weight, nearly half a ton, dragged the ropes back down. "Again!" Daniel shouted. Their muscles screamed, sweat mingling with mud. At last the rope slipped beneath Tano's belly. "Hold him steady," Michael panted. Leah stroked the calf's ear. Almost there. Amara trumpeted again, but did not charge. She waited, her body trembling. "Pull on 3, Daniel commanded. 1, 2, 3. Pull. The 4 heaved. The ropes tightened, their palms burning. Tano shifted slightly, then sank back with a sickening squelch. Again, this time the calf seemed to understand. Legs flailed, loosening the mud. The rescuers pulled with renewed strength. Slowly, his head emerged, then his shoulders. Mud poured off him in sheets. "Come on, little fighter," Leah urged. With one final heave, the calf slid free, collapsing on the ground, caked in mud and gasping. For a moment, all was still. Then he groaned, pushed, and staggered onto unsteady legs. Relief swept through the rescuers. Amara's triumphant trumpet echoed across the plain. She reached for her calf, but the team held back. Daniel motioned. "Clear a path. Let him go." The rescuers guided Tano forward, stumbled, then walked, then grew steadier. Michael drove the jeep behind, nudging him in the right direction. From a distance, Amara waited, her body taut with anticipation. When Tano reached her, she rushed forward, wrapping her trunk around him. She touched his face, his back, his belly, rumbling deep and low. Leah whispered. She thought she'd lost him. The rangers stood silent, moved beyond words. Mara lifted her head, her eyes meeting Daniel's. In that moment, there was no fear, only recognition. She lowered her head slightly, then turned back to her calf. The rescuers returned to their jeep, drained but relieved. As they drove away, Amara and Tana watched. Long after the vehicle vanished, the mother remained, trunk draped protectively over her calf. That evening, by the campfire, no one spoke much. Each carried the same image: a calf sinking into death, a mother fighting alone, and a moment when humans and wild stood together. They had saved more than a life. They had preserved a bond and witnessed trust in its purest form. And under the fading colors of Amboseli, the land itself seemed to rest easier.